Hello Airsoft friends, and welcome to this video today where I'm going to be taking a little bit of time to talk about something which is quite an important aspect of Airsoft, and that is Airsoft shops. Because we all need places in order to buy our riffs from, our accessories from, our magazines from, and everything else that we buy, gas, to everything that we use in Airsoft has to come from somewhere, and that somewhere is Airsoft shops, and there's plenty of them around the place. Tons of them, in fact. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. I'm going to be talking about an experience I had with one such shop, although we won't be naming names of the bad ones. I'm just going to point you to the good ones, and the ones where, you know, there's really good dudes there, you can trust them, they're going to sort you out, because I think that's an important thing to be aware of. If you can actually get to a shop, or when shops actually open up properly again, when we're out of lockdown and quarantine nonsense, there's some really good walk-in ones that I would highly recommend to you. One of them in particular, for me, I would say, is Surplus Store. Now, they are in Crawley, so if you're anywhere near Crawley, then that's going to be good for you. You're going to be able to walk in there and check out their walls of guns and other things as well that they have. But they have got such a huge selection of items in there, and all of their staff are extremely knowledgeable. You know, if you have any questions about any riff at all, they're going to know the answer for it. And they're also, you know, readily available on the phone too. So if you give them a call up at any point and you want to know something about a specific riff or upgrades or, you know, anything like that, they'll be able to hook you up. They also have a Airsoft technician on site who is fantastic from what I hear. So if you do want to upgrade your rifle or repair it or get something rebuilt or something like that, and you don't want to do it yourself, you can ask them to do it, and they'll be able to do that for you as well. So yeah, definitely one for you to check out, Surplus Store. There's other shops as well that I would recommend for you. Of course, you know that I'm a big advocate of Taiwan Gun. If you want to get cheapy things, either accessories, mags, rifles, pistols, anything like that, Taiwan Gun is a great option. I've heard around potentially, I don't know to what extent, that there may be a couple of like issues at the moment in terms of getting things shipped over to the UK. Of course, because of the wonderful Brexit, we are now in a position where, you know, companies are trying to figure out importing and customs and tax and you know, things like that. I haven't ordered from them since the whole Brexity stuff happened. I did all my orders last year, so I've not experienced that firsthand, but I have seen a couple of people making comments about how it's been tricky to you know, get deliveries done. So that may be something to look out for. Another shop as well, which I do recommend, which all of you are going to be familiar with too, of course, is Novrich. I know that they had some delays from the Black Friday stuff, but at the same time, I can't really blame them because there was tons and tons of orders going on. But I think there are a few kind of outstanding people, outliers, whose packages are kind of like in the nether. But at the same time, if you're selling hundreds and hundreds of things, it's going to be, you know, statistics that there's probably going to be a couple that have issues with. I mean, of all of the parcels I send out from Project Airsoft, I quite regularly get ones where, you know, people say they'd never arrived or things like that. And that's something which I then have to deal with because the postal service has let me down. So as much as it is a really big frustration to not get the things that you ordered in the timely manner that you were expecting to receive them in, it's not always their fault. And yeah, it can be a bit of a pain when third parties let you down, and then we've got to try and figure out what's happened, where things are they going to arrive, and whether or not to send out replacement ones for you to get those. So yeah, good old Nove. I do like their web shop. There's tons of stuff on there. The BBs I've been quite enjoying too. So I'm going to be doing some tests between their normal and bio BBs in future videos. So keep an eye out for that. Now, I know what you're thinking. You want to know about that NAFTA experience that I had at a certain Airsoft retailer. They're UK. They've got like a proper like kind of shop and whatnot. Luckily for me now, I'm not really close to them, so I don't have to go there or buy anything from them. They do have a really nice selection, and they have like a fancy showroom where there's lots of things in there that you can see. However, sadly for me, I had kind of like two bad experiences there where it kind of soiled our potential relationship, I guess, at that point in time, because it would have been fun to have worked with them. But sadly, this is a case of airsofters running a shop versus shop owners running a shop, because they didn't really seem to know what they were legally obligated to do in terms of being a retailer. Like many of you out there, I'm sure that you've probably worked in retail at some point in time, and you'd go through all the training rigmarole of knowing what it is that you are and what you're not responsible for a customer. And sadly, it just seemed like their staff and management weren't fully aware of what it was that they were supposed to do. So yeah, anyway, story number 1. They had an MP7 and I was like, cool, I'll have that. Turned out it was a customer return. Somebody had bought it, probably used it, and then returned it. And they said that everything was all in, good condition. I got it slightly discounted because it was a customer return, and I went on my happy way. Sadly, though, I took it out for a game day, and I realized that the actual little slider compartment thing that you put the battery in was broken. So I wasn't too happy about that. And I was a little bit concerned that if it was a customer return and there was a broken thing on there, that probably something else in the rift could have been broken, could have been damaged, or as far as I knew, maybe they bought it to swap that part out with theirs because they broke theirs, or there was another part as well that they swapped out for inside for their one, which could have been broken, and I didn't want to take that risk. So I went back to the shop with the ref, and I said, hey guys, I bought this, I would like to return it, please. And they said no. And I was like, what is going on? I'm so confused. And it took quite a while of talking and arguments and backwards and forwards for them to eventually say, okay, yes, we will return this item, and that's perfectly fine. And that kind of made me a little bit kind of cautious of them initially, because anyone would know that if you're in that position and you've got an item which is, damaged or anything like that, then they should be returning it. And especially because I was in like my return policy window deadline. So yeah, anyway, that was part number 1. The second part of the story, where things get a little bit more, not nice, is for my original JG Bar-10 that I had, my original VSR sniper rifle. I bought from them a trigger set and piston and guide combo type thing. I think it was somewhere between 150 250 quid, something like that. Anyway, I bought that, fitted it in the rifle, went out and used it, and it was okay for, I think, like 3 weeks, something like that. But then a spring broke in it, and it was the spring that reset the sear, I think. I can't really remember. I think it was that kind of like spring there. It was essential to the trigger unit. Anyway, I contacted them, said that the spring had broke from it, and they said that they didn't offer any warranty on that because it was an upgrade part and I fitted it myself. And I was like, that's not nice. that's not good at all, especially because it was like just a part of the mechanism that had broken, something that you don't touch during the installation process at all. I was rather upset about that. Anyway, we had this backwards and forwards because I was like, I know what my consumer rights are. You should be returning this, or you should fix it for free under warranty. And that's what I was asking them for. And they said no. They did put me in contact, kind of, or they recommended I got in contact with the supplier. I think it was a Laylax part. So language was a little bit of a barrier that I had with them. I don't think we really understood what each other was saying too much. But we eventually got to the point where they said they'll be happy to replace the springs for me if I paid for them. And I was like, no, I bought this part from a seller. You should be giving me these for free. So no, I'm not paying for any spare parts. To cut a long story short, the shop in question eventually stopped talking to me. They wouldn't take my phone calls. I didn't feel like it was appropriate to go to the shop physically because if they weren't taking my phone calls, they probably weren't going to be too nice to me if I went there on site. So I contacted my credit card company, supplied them all of that information, and they deemed me to be correct. Hooray, go me. Who would have thought? What a massive surprise that was going to be the case. So luckily for me, my credit card company refunded me all of the money, and I haven't had to deal with that really terrible shop once again. So yeah, I'd recommend you stay away from that shop. I'm not going to name them though. I'm more instead just going to give you information so you can focus on the good shops and to go shop at the good shops. So yeah, that's what I've done. I think it's important to be able to have shops that you can rely on or know which shops are good and which ones can give you a lot of information. And I think it's also important to find a balance between shops who are airsofters or are interested in airsoft versus shops who are more shop owners first and then airsoft second. Like this shop in question was definitely run by airsofters first of all because they weren't really aware of what they were supposed to be doing, what they were obligated to do. And they were more like interested in airsoft as opposed to customer service. And I think that there needs to be the right balance between the two. And adversely as well, I think there are some shops who are much more focused on shop first and then kind of like airsofting later on. And from getting what you're supposed to get in terms of service is great, but at the same time it would be nicer if there was a bit more of an airsoft passion behind it, I would say. I hope that this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you'll, go forward, check out Surplus Store, give them a call and whatnot, especially in this difficult time. And yeah, hopefully from them you'll get some good stuff and get some good information and good help there too. Of course, this video wouldn't have been able to have been made without Project Airsoft, which is my shop and things that I make. So go check out Project Airsoft, tons of accessories and things on there. And I'm also experimenting with some new types of things, which is very exciting. So more to come on that in a later video. And of course, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our lovely patrons. So thank you very much to all my lovely patrons out there. I love you. You know who you are. And so do you, because you can see them on screen right now. Thank you very much for your support. We'll be doing the draw live for the Airsoft Sniper Rifle and the £50 Project Airsoft voucher on Monday. We're doing YouTube live, and you'll be able to witness it and see it all at the same time with that excitement. So don't stray. I don't know what time it's going to be yet, but I'll let you know in a future video, probably around 5 o'clock, because that's usually when things go live. So yeah, around that time. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Remember to call your hits, and I'll see you in the next one.